New videos every day.
Hi, I'm Radhia Gleis. I'm a certified clinical nutritionist.
And I'm Peter McCarthy. I'm a certified traditional naturopath.
And this is Wake Up America. Peter, today we have some important news about how drug companies are using their money.
That's right, Radhia. Senator Chuck Grassley, ranking member of the Committee on Finance, has sent letters to the heads of state chapters of the National Alliance for the Mentally Ill, asking for disclosure of any monies received from drug companies.
This follows on the heels of an investigation of NAMI's national organization, which, according to Grassley's, received more than $28 million in drug company money from 2005 through 2008, which, per the New York Times, amounted to nearly 3/4 of their funding.
That's right, and it remains to be seen what these state chapters will actually disclose. The Times article pointed out that, quote, NAMI has long been criticized for coordinating some of its lobbying efforts with drug makers and for pushing legislation that also benefits industry, unquote.
In Texas, we followed NAMI's activities that range from support for mental health parity, child mental health screening, coercive treatment programs like jail diversion, and the Texas Medication Algorithm Project, that's TMAP, which favors new and expensive drugs that are no safer and no more effective than older drugs that are also dangerous but cost a fraction of the price. They've also opposed legislation that aim to reduce the inappropriate drugging of young Texas Medicaid kids with powerful antipsychotic drugs.
Yes, and NAMI went even farther by oppose FDA warnings associating antidepressants with suicide in children and young adults. In 2006, they took the position that FDA black box warnings of aggression, psychosis, and sudden cardiac death from stimulant drugs used to treat ADHD would be premature.
A lot of hard work by citizens of Texas to protect patients from psychiatric abuse and wanton drugging has been opposed by NAMI.
And we feel that when so-called advocacy groups support your right to be forcibly treated, they must be advocating for somebody else.
Apparently it's true.
Sure is, and I know you have some experience in this arena that I think our audience would find interesting.
Yeah, you know, Peter, I specialize in neurochemistry analysis and working a lot with children with ADD, ADHD, using nutraceuticals and using primarily amino acid therapy and getting really amazing results. I was talking to actually a psychologist last night. She's a child psychologist, and she was at that party with Representative Rodriguez last night. And we had a long conversation, and I was asking her, so what do you do in the classroom? And basically her job is to analyze and diagnose these kids. So she diagnoses them with autism or ADD, ADHD, or learning disorders, etc. You know, and so of course I asked her, well, once you diagnose them, what happens to these kids? You know, what's the modality? And she says, well, you know, she works on, works with the kids themselves, but very often those diagnoses then go to psychiatrists, who then immediately put them on psychotropic drugs, or they put them on basically speed. You know, they'll put them on amphetamines, and the long-term effect, it's so frightening. And I was saying to her last night, she actually admitted it, I was saying we have created a generation of mutants, of psychotropic mutants, that basically once you put them on long-term drugs such as this, you will not be able to get them off, and eventually, unless you do some some aggressive nutritional support, their neurochemistry just depletes and depletes and depletes, and then the drugs don't work, and of course, you know, they haven't figured out what to do with the kids after that. And we were talking about a particular study because she was saying, well, and this was a bit frightening. She said, you know, I think that one of the problems is technology, you know, because these kids are now, they're just on the internet and they're doing video games and they're doing all of this stuff. And she said to me, she said, I think that we should have no technology in school until high school. And I said, well, good luck with that.
Really?
I said, that ain't going to happen.
No,
And you can't keep these children from being exposed to technology even before they get into school. They did a study that I was reading about, and it was really fascinating. They were noticing that a lot of these video games and things like that are actually, they act like a drug. They did a study and they took a group of teenagers and they put them in front of a video game, and they said, we will give you $1 every time you hit an opponent or hit a target, and you stop and ring the bell. And in this experiment, not one of these kids stopped and rang the bell. So what they saw is that there was a dopamine rush, basically, and they got so jazzed and so hyper, you know. And on the one hand, it teaches them a lot of eye-hand coordination and to think very, very fast. But there's another thing, and that's that excitement that gets them so jazzed that they become addicted to it. Now, take those kids and then stick them in a classroom, you know, with the old paradigm of teaching, A plus B equals the square root of whatever, right?
Yeah.
And wonder, you know, why these kids are climbing the walls and jumping up and down. But unfortunately, our solution today is, instead of changing the paradigm of teaching, shifting and catching up to technology, we want to drug these kids and fit them into this peg so that they all behave just the way we want them to be. And it's really insane. I mean, really insane.
Yeah, it is. And for the benefit of the audience, for those of you who don't understand what dopamine is, it's literally the chemical that is produced or released as a result of a pleasure response in the brain. It's the feel-good neurochemical. And what we're talking about here is the mismatch between an education system that has been created or was created to service the industrial age, to create workers for factories and manufacturing plants of various kinds, and a generation of kids that have come in essentially cable ready and so attuned to this technology, and the educational system literally can't keep up with them, not the other way around.
Yeah, basically what this teacher was saying is she was getting frustrated because she said, you know, the problem is that children are not developing social skills and they're not developing physical skills because they're in front of the computer all the time, and their social world is on Facebook and it's, you know, in all the social media, but they don't actually have human contact. So I said to her, I said, well, instead of trying to, which isn't going to happen, instead of trying to take technology out of the schools, go to the technologists with your problem as a school psychologist and have technology catch up to your problems, not have the children try and catch up to the problems of technology. It's just back-assward. They're just not going to be able to do it. So it is a factor, yes. The social development and physical development can be hampered when we have this kind of technology, but the idea is not drugs.
No.
Hello?
Absolutely.
It's not drugs.
Yep.
So basically we are going to be talking a lot more, obviously, in the future. Peter and I are always talking about follow the money, wherever the money goes, especially in the drug industry. You'll pretty much find a dirty trail.
Yes, you will.
But we will be talking about this and more. If you haven't subscribed to Psychetruth, make sure that you subscribe now. And we will be back next time, and we're going to talk about, what are we going to talk about next time?
We're going to actually talk about some more about GMO foods.
GMO.
And we've got new information for you that was just out within the last week or so that I think will be very interesting for everybody.
Yeah, so stay tuned.
Thanks. We'll see you next time, folks.
If you liked this video, we have hundreds of more alternative videos ranging from sexual health to psychology to mind control. So if you liked it, go ahead and click on me to enter the Psychetruth channel.